still Breakfast Live on GTV. We've been talking about fighting corruption for a long time, and there's one organization whose mandate is to lead this fight against corruption, and as part of those activities, it investigates specific cases, prosecutes offenders with the Attorney General's authority, recovers proceeds of corruption, and also is engaged in activities to actually take steps to prevent corruption. We are talking about the Office of the Special Prosecutor. It has certain concerns which Mr. Kisejabeng is asking us to believe will not help in this fight against corruption. What are some of these concerns? What are the challenges mitigating the fight against corruption, if there are indeed any? Mr. Samuel Appiah-Darko is the Director, Strategy, Research and Communication at the Office of the Special Prosecutor and is at our table this morning. Mr. Appiah-Darko, thank you for making time to join us.
Thank you.
Fighting corruption. When the Office of the Special Prosecutor was opened and the first OSP was named, the man who called himself the Citizen Vigilante took office, there was a lot of expectation that a lot of the things that we've come to know as corruption would be dealt with. That did not go according to plan, and now Mr. Kisejabeng is in office. It appears from what he's telling us that we should not be hopeful. Is that the impression that the office wants us to carry of the OSP?
Thank you. No, that's not the impression. I think that the press conference by the Special Prosecutor is in line with core functions of the OSP. And let's quickly go through the functions of the OSP. As we said, the OSP is an independent law enforcement agency, one, and then a prosecutorial office. What this means is that the OSP has what we call police powers. So when we say law enforcement, it means that the OSP can arrest, it can grant you bail, it interrogates people, and then when it comes to prosecutorial, it means that the OSP, after investigating, when it is satisfied that there is sufficient evidence to prosecute a person, it then goes ahead and prosecute. It does not take permission from the Attorney General. That has been one of the misconceptions people have. The OSP's prosecutorial power has already been given to it in an act of parliament. So when it does its work, it doesn't send a docket to the Attorney General for it to be looked at before it goes to court. It does that independent. So it has
the authority of the Attorney General, the same authority that the Attorney General has
yes,
to prosecute.
Yes. So unlike, say, police service, where police, after investigating, they have to send a docket to the Attorney General to advise before they prosecute. OSP doesn't do that. Unlike the Economic and Organized Crime Office, where after they are done with their investigation, they have to send it to the Attorney General for advice. The OSP doesn't do that. The OSP does it on its own. And then when the OSP believes that there isn't a case to answer in a case, it can decide to file what we call a nolle prosequi.
Like it happened in Mr. Edubuahin's case?
No, Edubuahin's case didn't get to court.
Okay.
But it happened in Mahama Yariga's case, where the first special prosecutor had put Mahama Yariga, the MP for Boko Central, on trial. And then when the new special prosecutor looked at the file and everything and came to a conclusion that there wasn't sufficient evidence for us to win, he filed a nolle prosequi. So that is the second function of the OSP. Then there's a third function of the OSP, which is that the OSP is supposed to take steps to recover proceeds of corruption and then also manage the proceeds of corruption. The whole idea is to take profit out of corruption. What is the point if someone is able to steal so much money and then he goes to jail and then come back to enjoy what he stole? Or what is the point, somebody stealing money and leaving it for his family? And then he knows that after he's gone, his family will still enjoy that profit. So the other function that the lawmaker gave to OSP is that we should take steps to recover those monies. And then the last function of the OSP is to also take steps to prevent the occurrence of corruption. And then the law gives us so many measures that we need to do. And I would like you to read it so that members of the public know this. This is our LI. It's called, LI is what we call legislative instrument, which operationalizes our law. If you read Regulation 31, I know it's a tall list, but if you can carefully read it for our
Prevention
viewers.
of corruption. So a number of things. There
Yes.
was may receive, collect and collate reports, documents, materials, complaints, allegations, information and intelligence to undertake the following measures to prevent corruption.
Yes.
So analysis of the risk, anti-corruption programs, anti-corruption assessment of legislation
Yes,
and draft
please.
legislation, provision of information in relation to persons applying for or holding a position in the ministries, departments and agencies, provision of information to the Public Services Commission and
Yes.
other legal entities, education and information of the public, publicizing detected acts of corruption, and other corruption measures
Please
provided
go ahead
by
and read the
the
rest.
law. So identify the causes and that advance the corruption to facilitate the prevention of corruption, including deficiencies in regulatory enactments, regulations and procedures, deficiencies in administration of instructions, including lack of internal control mechanisms. And so it's a tall
No, please,
list.
the
So
last one is very important. The last two are very important. No, turn it. It's a continuation.
I'm sure you know where
No,
you're talking
just
about.
finish
So
this
point
one.
us in
I want
that
you to
direction.
finish the C and D. The C and D. It's very important that people get to know.
Individual interest, including greed, lack of ethicalness and legal awareness, and external influences, including public attitude, culture, and traditions.
Thank you. So, in terms of our function of preventing corruption, the law even gives us the power to do investigation and advise those who appoint people into office that this person is not fit to become, say, a minister, or this person is not fit to work in the public service. We are also supposed to publish detected acts of corruption.
Is that during the vetting process?
No,
or
that's
is-
so
as
different.
part
That's
of that?
an advice that will be coming from the special prosecutor to that point. That this person, we've noticed that he has engaged in corruption, or we did an investigation concerning this person. We noticed that he engaged in corruption. So it's not all the work of OSP that will end up in court. And that's the confusion a lot of people face. They are always looking at the OSP as another attorney general, and they think that all his function is to go to court. But that is not so. A lot of the function of the OSP is also outside the courtroom. And that is why you saw that the OSP did what we call corruption risk analysis of the Japa deal, and came out with the findings and said that it's tainted with corruption, so don't go ahead with it. And that is why the OSP also came out with another corruption report on the La Bianca customs investigation, and said that we have noticed that certain things didn't go well, and we've noticed that certain individuals did not play their role as they were supposed to play, and we published it. So you saw that it says that publish detected acts of corruption. So we have the power. And how can you publish detected acts of corruption unless you do investigations? It says that we should take steps to prevent corruption by bringing to the public some things that we consider to be inimical to the fight against corruption. So it is in line with that the special prosecutor held this press conference to say, Ghanaians, I've been given this job. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to resign. But there are certain hurdles that are preventing the office from going ahead with this work. And all the OSP is saying is that lately we have observed a trend that there are certain cases that have not been able to progress or moved on because of certain impediments that have been placed in our way. And those impediments are self-inflicted.
Let's go through some of them.
Yes. So let's take the first impediment. The first impediment, he talks about some cases, and 4 cases. The first one is that he says that the court appear to have arrogated for itself power to determine who can be arrested and who cannot be arrested, who should be investigated and who should not be investigated. And this, the court knows perfectly that it does not lie within the court to do that. It lies with the law enforcement agency. So the Constitution does not grant anybody immunity from arrest, for instance. Even the president, the Constitution doesn't grant such immunity. So the OSP cites the case of Charles Bissue, where Charles Bissue took the OSP to court. He filed about 5 different cases, all seeking to say that, court, stop OSP from investigating me. Stop OSP from prosecuting me. And a judge sits down, ex parte application, which means that OSP was not in court. And he says that, judge, OSP wants to arrest me, so stop OSP from arresting me. And then the judge, knowing very well that you can't stop OSP from arresting the person, still goes ahead and stops OSP for 10 days from arresting the person. So if you stop us from arresting a person, then what do you want us to do? How do we do investigation if we cannot arrest people? Now, this is the problem. Some people have said that, oh, OSP should go through procedure, and if you are not happy with it, like the Ghana Bar Association, like JUSAD, the SP himself he knows law very well. In fact, he eats and drinks procedure. But the law is not always about procedure, and it's not mutually exclusive. Procedure is good, but what he's pointing out is not necessarily that we are not going to appeal. We know that when a case does not go well in the lower court, you go to the superior court. But what we are trying to say is that if you are not careful, OSP has timelines within which to do his work. For instance, if we even seize a property, we have 2 months within which to have brought a charge. And if we don't bring any charge, you have about 6 months within which to give the person's property back to the person. So we have timelines. We don't want the situation like, say, the Domilovo case, where he was asked to get out of office. And then it took almost 3 years before the appeal processes said that no, the president did not have power to do that. But that 3 years is gone. He's out of office. You can't remedy it. Now, if you say we shouldn't arrest someone, it means that you are preventing us from investigating a person. And this is one of the reasons why the OSP says that this trend will not support the fight against corruption. Now, the second case, it has to do with the La Bianca case. The OSP, as part of its mandate to publish detected acts of corruption, came up with a report and said that, well, we have noticed that certain individuals did not do their work well, and that helped some influence peddling to take place, and that allowed certain things to be done which were wrong. For instance, they were given certain discretions and there was no justification for that discretion. And so we came up with our findings. The GRA has taken steps to remedy it and all that. But the court of law says that I have struck out the findings against these people because you are not a court and you are not a commission of inquiry. But that is not even our case. The court then goes on further to say that I have stopped you from investigating these two persons. You said that the actions tend to promote corruption.
So what happens in this case? Because the OSP appears to have its recommendations and its findings and its report, and then the court also comes up with its rulings. And at the end of the day, it's the court's ruling that becomes the order of the day that the OSP has to follow. For example, in the case of, you mentioned La Bianca, Charles Bissiu, you were told, this is where it ends, there's no case here, move on. So what happens? Because it's the court that has the final say, and it means that whatever time and effort you put into these cases, we would have to just move on from it.
Yeah, but that's what we are saying, that we have to change. And that's the whole essence of the press conference, that the fight against corruption, as provided for under Article 35 of the Constitution, said that the states shall take steps to eradicate corruption. It is not just the OSP alone. That's why the OSP is saying that we need all the arms of government to support this fight. We are not saying that look to the left and let OSP abuse the rights of someone. No. We are saying that if the OSP is wrong, you correct the OSP that you are wrong. For instance, if it's an unlawful arrest, you can come up with a decision as an unlawful arrest.
In Charles Bissiu's case,
we have not even arrested him.
Were you told what you had done wrong, or what
we are not
deficiency
told.
in the case was?
No. He just ran to the court and said, protect me from OSP arrest. And then the court grants that. And so it is the duty of the special prosecutor to point out such deficiencies and say that we need to fix it. If we don't fix it, then we can't fight corruption.
So when he asked the question, are we ready to fight corruption? Who is he asking?
Everybody. Because the OSP cannot do this work alone. He was asking you, Thelma, the media, how you even report on the OSP. The lack of understanding of the OSP and always portraying the OSP as if it is even a private entity or a law firm belonging to the special prosecutor. That is how the OSP has been handled by some people, even in the media. But the OSP is a state organization. It's a law enforcement agency. And it was established pursuant to Article 36 of the United Nations Convention. So, although President Kufuor is the one who brought it to birth, this is a requirement, an international law requirement, that every nation should have an OSP besides its police service, besides its other organizations. So Ghana is not the only country that has an OSP. Kenya has an OSP. Sierra Leone has an OSP. Nigeria has an OSP. Even America has an OSP.
Response or reactions to the OSP's press conference has been varied, depending on which side of the political divide you stand. On the government side, their understanding is that the OSP is hitting hard at the hand that feeds it. On the opposition side, the understanding is that the OSP has taken a stand with the opposition, or appears to have taken a stand with the opposition, to bash the government. For the man in the middle, for the ordinary Ghanaian who is listening to these two opposing views, what should they make of it? And how should they understand? You're saying there's a lack of understanding of your operations. What should we understand?
And I think that this appearing before you today is one of the main avenues to let people understand who the OSP is. I think that the OSP needs the support of everybody. It needs the support of the executive, it needs the support of parliament, and it needs the support of the judiciary. Now, what the public have to understand is that they have to support the work of the OSP. Now, the OSP is one of the creatures that deal primarily with politicians and politically exposed persons. So when we say politicians, it's dealing with people in government. It's dealing with people in opposition. And we know that these people are very powerful. They have resources, vast resources. And so that fight, we are saying, cannot be left to the OSP alone. It needs support from all the other law enforcement agencies. For instance, if a police officer is on duty and sees someone bribing someone in an election, the police officer has a duty to arrest that person.
And you did that over the weekend during the NPP's primaries in orphan constituencies. We understand that a number of people are wanted by the OSP for vote buying.
Yes, I mean, the OSP has commenced investigations into it, but we do not comment on live investigations, so I'm unable to give the details. But suffice to say that the OSP has commenced investigations into what we call vote buying. The OSP has the mandate to investigate.
Is this
corruption.
What led to what we're seeing on the screen? Is this what led to the commencement of that investigation? What appears in the video to show certain people allegedly talking about, monies exchanging hands to vote one way or the other in the just gone by NPP primaries?
Well, like I said, we do not comment on live investigations, but I can tell Ghanaians that the OSP has commenced investigations into corruption involving a public election, which means that we want to look into whether some people were influenced or whether some people demanded money in order to vote. And so that investigation has commenced. People should know that it's not just the one who is giving you, say, money to vote that may be at fault. But if you're also demanding and you are also receiving, you are also at fault.
Demanding?
Yes. If you are demanding money or receiving in order to vote, then you are engaged in corruption in respect of a public election. It's as simple as that. The ordinary person has to understand that there is nothing like cuckoo season. It's my time to also milk politicians. No. There is nothing like that. Because whatever you do, it has implications. You cannot eat your cake and have it. If you are demanding money, say, from a politician, where do you think he's getting the money from? Because the politician is not Bank of Ghana. So it's hard time that we understand. That's why the OSP is appealing to the public that we have to all join. Remember when you read it said that we have to even change culture.
Because in our culture, we accept gift giving. We expect to receive gifts if we belong to a certain class of society. It's normal to go to the chief's house and offer gifts. Yeah. It's normal to go to the chief's house, even when you're being offered a piece of land or whatever, to go with, certain gifts outside of what the agreement of what the I don't want to say the sale of land, but the offer of the land would be used for. So it extends into other areas of our society. You go to church, you're going to the minister, you want to show that you support the minister's business, you're supporting the work of God. It's, time for fasting, you're donating to the mosque so that they'll use it to cook, make cocoa and all that. So we become expectant of these things. A politician mounts a campaign platform or comes to speak to you individually. You know that chances are maybe you might not see the person again. So whatever they have to give to you in the future is now.
I get
so
it.
how do we change these cultural perceptions?
Yes.
Because the Constitution also says that customary law is law in Ghana.
Yes.
It means that you cannot legislate to say, don't take the things to the chief's palace.
Yes, but there are hierarchies of laws. Customary law is at the base. And so you have the Constitution, you have the Act of Parliament and allies and all that. So if there's an ally, but you are right. Things have to change. I have always said that we have a culture of corruption, to the extent that the one who is trying to fight corruption is the one that people are fighting. If you like, check comments against the OSP. You even have some propaganda journalists whose duty alone is that attack the institution that is fighting corruption. Always put out information that is not correct or accurate about the institution, because we don't want the OSP to even be in existence. Left to some people alone, the OSP should be even scrapped, because they want to be able to do their business in peace. They don't want any institution lurking around and saying what you are doing is wrong. Don't do it. So we have a problem, and that problem can be solved by Ghanaians ourselves. I have always said one thing, that corruption affects you directly, because you could have gotten a better hospital. If you go to Kolebu and in an emergency situation and you are not careful, you will not get a bed. Several people are complaining of so many things going wrong. If not for corruption, there will be enough money to go around to solve some of these problems. So you think that today I've gotten my share, but you have created a whole generation of problems.
So let's go through a few of your functions and then we'll talk about the implications. When you say that you're a law enforcement agency, it means that you have the police power of arrest. I saw you holding the FBI.
You mean the OSP badge?
A similar badge to the FBI.
Oh,
so
this is my badge. I can
people.
show it to you. That's the OSP badge.
You can arrest people with this.
Yes.
As a
but
member of.
you can only, OSP's power is in relation to its functions.
Okay.
As in what OSP can do. OSP's job is corruption and corruption-related offenses.
Define the OSP's arrest for me, because when I hear or when you communicate, you say that we invited this person to answer questions. Is that the OSP's version of an arrest?
No.
Because the public thinks that if you are arrested, a knock on your door, open police, open the door, you are under arrest, put your hands behind your back, you have the right to remain silent. Is that the OSP's arrest?
Yes, it means that the OSP can come to your house and physically pick you up.
So for those that are invited to your office or that you sit with and say, we have, released them, whether it's on bail terms or what happens there?
Okay, so this is it. A law enforcement agency can come directly to your house and arrest you without a warrant, and can also do so with a warrant. Now, when they come directly to you to arrest you without a warrant or with a warrant, you will be sent to their office for interrogation.
And you have the badge to show the person. I think I want to see the badge.
Of course,
again.
you have the badge to show the person. You're not supposed to be seeing it, but
Okay.
at least I've shown it to you. If you want to have a look, at least I can show you. But this is the OSP's badge.
Okay.
I mean, it's not. But the point I'm making to you now is this: that, and the OSP too can decide that no, I want to invite you to come directly with your lawyer.
It's an invitation and arrest?
It's not an invitation. The OSP has two ways of bringing you to the office. I said that the OSP can come physically and pick you up, or it can direct you to come to the office. So Thelma, you are directed to attend to the OSP on Monday by 10:30 a.m. You may come with your lawyer, or you can decide to come without your lawyer.
And this letter is served publicly?
It's served publicly to you.
It's served personally?
Personally. It's given
So it's not
directly
circulated
to you.
on social media?
Not at all.
So I won't find out the OSP has invited me
So
for a conversation
if you ever see the
online.
OSP's letter online, directing somebody to come, means that person put it out there. For instance, nobody knew that we had arrested Professor Frimpong Boateng until he himself came up to tell people. Nobody would have known. And there are several people who have been arrested by the OSP that nobody knows about, because there are several investigations that have been going on, except lawyers for such people who know. So when the OSP directs you to come, it means it's granting you courtesy It's different from the, say, police has invited you. And it's different from when you are a witness and we say, just come, let's have coffee. When you see on top of our letter, direction to attend, it means that you are a suspect. We are not inviting you to come and have coffee or tea with us. We are inviting you to come and answer questions. And the OSP is trying to move away from what we call pen and paper investigations. So before you get our letter, it means that we already know what you have done and we want answers from you. That's why we bring you such a letter and we don't come physically to pick you. However, if you give us cause to come and physically pick you, we will do that as well.
So in the case of Mr. Bisu, the court has already decided.
Yes.
On the case. In the La Bianca case,
yes,
the court has already decided.
Yes.
So you can talk about those.
All the cases SP talked about, I can talk about. Let's talk about the other one, which is Sir John. Yes. So, and all these we are talking about are not even our substantive case. Thelma, let me tell the public. So the OSP has what we call substantive cases on trial. First one is the Northern Development Authority, where the former CEO and his 2 deputies plus a private contractor are being tried in the High Court in Tamale for corruption and other offenses. I mean, they are being tried because we discovered that they have bloated a contract sum and we stopped the controller from paying the remainder of the contract sum. So we saved the nation some money and now we have put them before trial. The OSP has just closed its case. That is in Tamale. That's the substantive case. We have Kumasi, the former Jabin MCE, who was seen in a viral video demanding for a return of his bribe money. He is also standing trial in a high court in Kumasi. And that case too, we have closed our case, which means that it's left with the defense to also open their case. Then we have the former PPA boss, Ajinim Boateng, and his relative, also standing trial in the high court in Accra. So these are what we call substantive cases. Then we have what we call cases that we want to investigate. So for instance, Madam Cecilia Dapa, we are now investigating. So it's not like we are finished. However,
and you've run into some difficulties
yes,
with that.
However,
one,
we have
because
already
the court has already, when you've frozen, they say unfreeze.
I'm about to say
okay.
Already we have already charged her with one offense, right? So that is separate. So that one we have already charged her with one offense. That is refusing to declare your property and income. So when the OSP arrests you and is doing what we call unexplained wealth investigation, it's a mandated that we serve you with a form. That form is demanding so many things from you. How much money do you have in a bank? How much money do you have in a house? How much money does your husband hold? How much money does your girlfriend have? It's very intrusive.
And you found her answers.
It asks all of these one. No, she refused to fill the form. You have 30 days within which to fill. She refused to fill the form, even up to today. It's been 5 months. And you have only 1 month to do so. The law says that when you refuse to fill the form, the OSP is supposed to charge you with a criminal offense. And you can go to jail for a minimum of 2 years and a maximum of 5 years. Or you pay some fine. So that we've already charged her with it for refusing to fill the OSP form.
So then on what basis do you say that
then we have
there
a second
were contradictory reports about ownership of the money and sources of the money?
Then we come to the second one. So filling the form is separate from we investigating. Now the law says that when the OSP, when the special prosecutor has reasonable cause to suspect that freezing of your bank account or seizing of your money is necessary to aid investigations, he's supposed to do that. So the law gives the OSP power without going to court to freeze your property for your bank account for 14 days and then to seize your property and hold it up to 6 months, right? But the law also provides that if the OSP wants to put you on trial early, then when it seizes your property, it must go within 7 days to the court to confirm. So we only go to the court to confirm. And the court has only 2 mandates in this case. One, the court can agree with us and say, I'm confirming it for you, right? And the law says that when the court confirms it for you, you have 1 year within which you now investigate the person and bring a charge. Remember, when we go and pick things or we freeze your thing, that's in a hurry. We need to now take our time and investigate it. So the law says that if you go to the court and the court confirms it, you have 1 year within which to investigate.
So in this particular case, in the Cecilia Dapa case, can you confirm exactly how much money we are talking about? Because there were different currencies that were discovered in the madam's house.
The monies were
and
is already public knowledge.
And so when you put it all together is what I'm asking. Because if you're talking about ownership, what percentage of it are you saying she could say it's hers, and what percentage of it are you saying she's not been able to answer ownership for? And that's why I'm asking.
Yes, but let's take it one at a time. I don't know that you're confused. So we went to court for a confirmation. The first one, the court said that they won't confirm for us because, one, we came out of time, which we disagree, because in our estimation, when you are interpreting a criminal statute like ours, you must interpret it as Section 4 of the Act 29 says loosely and not straightly, because the OSP's agreement is that there are certain laws that practically is not feasible. Remember, the OSP law is new and we are now actualizing it. So, for instance, today I went to Thelma's house and I picked a mook. Then the next time I discover Thelma has a house at another place, I go there and I pick a car. Then in 3 days' time, I go to another property of Thelma and I find, say, a motorbike. Now, the law says that we should come within 7 days. Now, but what we are saying that I'm doing this all in relation to Thelma and not different people. And so if I decide to come when I pick the Mook 1 and come at a different day when I pick the car and come at a different day when I pick the
I will
motorbike,
have time to hide the
we
rest.
we will have different times within which we have to bring
file this.
We have
So
to
the
bring
7
a charge.
days will change.
Yes.
For each property.
Yes. And then it will affect the timing of when you can charge the person. Remember I said that when you pick it within 2 months, you must charge. Then we have different dates, but it's one transaction. So our agreement is that because it was continuous and continuum, we decided that at the last one that we finished the search, that's when the 7 days should count, so that we bring it together as one. But the court said, no, I disagree with you. So we don't have a problem with that. So where we have a problem, Thelma, is when the court goes ahead to say, give her property back to her.
But the court has
right, the court doesn't have that right. What the court can do, and in any case, the court even says 7 days. When there's a ruling, there's an automatic 7-day stay. But when you then say, give it back to him, you didn't do good investigation, that's where we have a problem. Because our law does not say that we must do investigations before we bring it to you. Our law says that we must come to you for confirmation so that it is not lost, so that it is not concealed. Then now we'll take our time to do investigations. But the court has its
own processes.
No, it's not, the court can't have its own processes. We're saying that the court faulted. We are faulting the court because, one, you are saying that we should have done investigations before coming to you. And we are saying that the law is the other way around. We are supposed to freeze it. What's the purpose of freezing it? So that the person cannot dissipate the whatever you have seized. Because if you leave it there, it may be dissipated or it can be concealed. So at this time, we are saying a court, help me protect this property. Because at the end of the day, the law is that when we find out that, there is no corruption in it, the law says, give it back to the person. Yeah. Anyway. So that's why we are saying that the court's duty is only two. One, I'm confirming for you. I'm not confirming because the law gives us timelines within which we should give the person's property back to the person. So, like I told you, we can hold the property up to 6 months. So when the court says, give it back to the person, what's the court doing?
Are you getting what I'm trying to say? We'll be wrapping this up in the next couple of
minutes. And it's not just that. I want to add another one.
That the judges please, if I can finish one, to be preventing him from doing his job.
If I finish one. There was this case, and I'll tell you, still on Cecilia Dapa, where the OSP had filed a complaint to the Chief Justice and told the Chief Justice that the judge's pronouncement and a lot of things the judge has done shows that he is biased. All he wants is that we should release Madam Cecilia Dapa's money to her, and doesn't think so much about the fact that a public officer can't have such money in her house and that we have to go into it. That alone is what we call reasonable suspicion. If Thelma right now we discover even 1 million Ghana cedis in your house, we have to question you because we know your salary at GBC, and we know that whatever. So if you think you have any other reason why you have that 1 million,
I must make that
you must
case.
Tell us. But she's not even telling us. That's why I said that she's not even telling us. Now the next stage is that we file a complaint to the Chief Justice, right? Then before we can go to court, a propaganda media person sits on his TV station and says that, the OSP has withdrawn the complaint it sent to the Chief Justice. Now listen to the sequence. The following morning, we go to court. And then the lawyers for Mr. Dapa also comes, and the first thing they rise and tell the judge, oh, my lord, we have heard that the OSP has withdrawn the complaint that you should be recused from the case. And the judge also goes ahead and says, yes, I've had correspondence that, no, let me finish this. Let me finish this. I will just finish it. I beg you, I'll finish it. Then the judge also says, I'm coming.
You want the public to do something
if I can finish this, it's support, yeah. And then the judge also says, yes, it's true. Meanwhile, the OSP had not written to the Chief Justice. Then, in a week later, the Chief Justice now responds to the OSP and says that I will not grant your wish. So, where from all this propaganda to show as if the OSP is incompetent, it has sent a case to court and is withdrawing and all that. And this was done, and we are saying that when you do that, you are not only hurting the OSP, you are hurting the entire Ghana.
Are you able to tell us how much money you've saved the country as
so much,
an OSP?
So
Can
much.
You give us
For instance, I'll give you an example. When the OSP did the corruption rates assessment into a JAPA deal, right? Can you imagine how much money the OSP saved the nation? That's why I'm coming. When the OSP wrote to Toronto contract to say, stop it, don't go ahead with it. Can you imagine how much money the OSP has saved? When the OSP did the La Bianca customs and said that, and it resulted in the government, in the government repealing the law that allows them to give advance ruling. Can you imagine how much money, since we did the investigation, has saved it? When we stopped them from the auction of cars, and we said that the way you are auctioning cars is not the right way, and they took steps to, they themselves reported that there was a 12% increase in their revenue. So the OSP has saved the country a lot of money through its preventive measures. And the OSP wants to even save the country a lot more by going after the assets of those who are suspected to have engaged.
What's the way forward? He's expressed his frustration with the system and all the concerns that you talked about, the hurdles that he has to surmount in order to make headway in this fight. And you're saying the public should support. The public wants accountability. They want to be sure that when you say you're going after XYZ, you actually do that, and the court upholds the decision. So it's not enough for the OSP to file the report and say, we disagree with the court. We want investigations that the court will agree with, that the people of Ghana will be happy with, and say, listen, this person, Thelma, had $1 million in her house. She could not account for it. Nobody gave it to her. We don't know where it came from. It's from corruption-related offenses. That's what the people of Ghana want. When do we get it? That's what people are looking for, accountability.
You are getting it. I just told you about 3 or 4 cases that are already on trial that we've closed our case.
But there hasn't been rulings on those cases.
Yes, but tell me,
so we want
this is what Ghanaians
stories.
have to understand, right? The special prosecutor, Kisia Jaben, it's just 2 years, some months. Remember, he came in to meet zero office. And currently, as we speak, the office has now been established. It has,
how many people?
It has about 249 staff now, which you have already told the people of Ghana. So the office is now fleshing things out. We now have the full complement of our staff to start with, right? So even setting up the office has taken a lot of time. But you can't just plant coconut today and expect that within 1 year you are getting fruits. Ghanaians have to be patient. But what this special prosecutor has done, he ought to be commended. He's building the ship while sailing, while setting up the office, which takes a lot of time to set up a law enforcement office, and still asking the government for resources to be able to do a lot of things. Because remember, the OSP is a forensic specialized organization. It's not supposed to do things like the other law enforcement agencies. So it will take a while. So Ghanaians should support the OSP, back the OSP, and know that it takes a while. It's a matter of time. Kisi is just 2 years and some months. But look at the successes he has brought. Look at the cases he has taken on. It's a lot.
We'll have you back because this education, I'm sure the Ghanaian public will be very, very...
Thank you very much.
They will benefit a lot from it so that we understand the work of the OSP. And then where you are with some of the cases that... And in many, 99 out of 100, the public is very interested in the cases the OSP pursue. So we just want to see the results, and we wish you well.
And we need the support of GBC. We need support of all the media. We need the support of the judiciary.
A seat at the table for you when you're ready to talk OSP matters.
Thank you very much.
Samuel Appiah Darko is the Director, Strategy, Research and Communication at the Office of the Special Prosecutor.